Okay, we are here with Texas Tech student-athletes Chance McMillan, Darion Williams, and Kerwin Walton. We have 15 minutes with the student-athletes before head coach Grant McCaslin. Please raise your hand to ask a question, and a person with the microphone will come over. Please state your name and media affiliation. If you're joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions. We will address the questions in room first and get to Zoom if time allows. Questions for the student-athletes? Right here in the middle.
Darion, can we get an update on your status? You knew it was going to be asked, and are you expecting to play tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm expecting to play. I'm still taking it day by day, though, but I'm anticipating playing tomorrow.
And then just for all the guys, just talk about being here in Pittsburgh and getting to play tomorrow against NC State.
Kerwin, you want to start and work our way down?
Yes, most exciting time of the year for us. This is what we've been preparing for all season long. So, everything we've been doing in practices and all the games we played has led us up to the tomorrow's first game. So, we're all excited to be here.
Just remember to state your name and media affiliation. Is there a microphone out? Questions for student athletes? Right here in the middle.
Hey, Brooke Pryor with ESPN. For all three of you guys, what's the challenge in playing a team like NC State that just went on a hot run through the ACC tournament? Obviously, they're kind of riding the high of that, but also playing 5 games in 5 days. I'm sure there's some level of just exhaustion that comes along with that.
Yeah, they've done things that are that most people would say is very tough. Everybody that's in this tournament, is here for a reason. So, to me, every team in this tournament is good. So we got to be prepared, and we've been doing a whole lot of practicing and a whole lot of preparation. So we're gonna be ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Questions? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Just approaching like any other game. I mean, they're going to come in excited. They're not going to come in just let us win the game. So we're going to have to come in and beat them.
Chance, you want to add on to that?
What Darion said.
Sounds good. Questions for student athletes? Right here, front right.
Lubbock Avalanche Journal. Kerwin, you've had a little bit of experience against NC State in a previous life years. Does some of that kind of animosity towards the Wolfpack carry over from your days at Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, I remember playing these guys a few times my first couple of years at Carolina, and it's always been animosity between the two schools, but it's a whole new environment for me, so it's going to be a little bit of a different game, a little bit of a different feeling, but at the end of the day, we're going to show up to win.
Right middle.
Cole Banker, Red Raider Nation. All three of you guys have been here before. What have you learned from those past experiences that you can take in tomorrow and going forward?
Let's start with Chance and work our way down.
I would say we just have to stay together because the past few games I've been up here, I would say the biggest difference is the team staying together. So our togetherness should help us.
For me, just making sure everybody's coming to get ready to play. 'Cause last year I got blown out from the beginning, so I think just being ready to go from the jump.
Yeah, I mean they said it best. We've done a lot to be here, so I think for us it's just gonna have to make sure we play hard and play smart and play together.
Questions for student athletes? Every year, every team's different. We'll start with you, Kerwin, and work your way down. What makes this team specifically special?
Well, for us, I think it's just the tenacity and grit that we play with. We've had a lot of games where came down big, and we kept clawing and fighting back and getting into it because we kind of just we play for each other. That's kind of like one of our biggest strengths, just as us being able to just claw out of anything, and I think that's going to take us very far in this tournament.
I think just the togetherness we play with each other for. I mean, we play for each other the whole time. Nobody's trying to worry about themselves. Everybody's just trying to win. And no matter the situation in the game, we feel like we can come back and win it. So I think that's it.
Yeah, I would agree with Darion because we do play for each other and we do care about each other a lot, which will help us like on the court too because we mess with each other on the court. I mean, off the court. So on the court, it's just natural. Like we all are one.
Right here. Yep.
Kerwin, you mentioned earlier about your past life, then the animosity between UNC and NC State. But with that experience of playing NC State previously, how much does that help you guys in preparing for a team that there isn't a lot of history with? How much can you take carry over from facing them previously and knowing what they do on offense and defense, even though this is a different team from the ones that you've played?
Yeah, I mean, they got some different guys on their squad, but I'm pretty familiar with like the ACC and their play style a little bit. So, it's not going to be like something that's completely new to me or something I haven't seen before. But, Coach Mack has done a whole lot to help us prepare, and he's been doing. He didn't know anything. He told us he didn't know anything about NC State before Selection Sunday, but he knows everything about them now. So. We've done a whole lot to get to this point and be prepared for it. So I think we're going to be, well acquainted with them.
Back right.
Gary Hahn, Wolfpack Sports Network. What have the coaches told you about NC State? What have you seen on film? Number one, and number two, DJ Burns is a tough matchup inside. If you'd each of you give your opinion on how you'd like to handle him.
Chance, you want to start?
We have watched a lot of film. We know right now they're in a role right now, so they're playing for each other right now. And for DJ, you just got to see that tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing really well as a team. Obviously, you won 5 games in 5 days, and just got to play better than him tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's going to be simple. I think the game's going to be more dictated by us and just how we play and how we approach. That's kind of like one of our biggest focuses right now. We know DJ Burns is a really good player, and just like everybody else. So we're gonna have to, always be locked in for everybody. They're a hot team right now, so we're gonna be really on edge tomorrow.
Any more questions for a student athlete? Right here, right in the middle aisle.
Pete Christie from KCBD in Lubbock. For all the guys, starting with Chance, just what has Grant McCaslin brought to you guys in his first year? What a great run you guys have had. What does he mean to you, and what has he instilled in you guys?
He means everything to me. He continues to give us lessons off the court. I really do appreciate him about that. And he really emphasizes about us, a bunch of team stuff. We need to care more about each other. And I felt like during the year we continued to do that. So I appreciate him for that.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Mack, me and Joe talk about it. He's more of a life coach than a basketball coach sometimes. He teaches you a lot about how you should move throughout your life. And, it means a lot to me. Me and him have a pretty good relationship. We talk. He asked me a lot about how I'm doing outside of basketball, so it means a lot to me.
Yeah, he values, the well-being and of us more than, anything outside, really. To us, we're like his extended family. And, we all share common goals as winning. That's all he talks about, every practice, and, every before and after every single game, even in the summer before, the first time I met him, the main topic of discussion was how we going to find a way to win a national title. So I think that's kind of what made him such a great coach and a great person.
Question right here to the right.
Chance and Kerwin being the two seniors out here, with the possibility of it being it for you guys, does that add a level of motivation to succeed this weekend and next weekend?
For sure it does. It does have me on edge, and it makes me want to, or it allows me to bring that fight, because it could be it for me. So I'm telling my teammates to fight hard, do whatever you can to help us win, because I don't want to go out sad.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal for both of us, including our other seniors, Joe and Warren. Those guys, this is their last year, and we play for them. We really play for each other, and we always have our best interests at heart. So I think it's going to be very important for us to make as big of a statement as we can.
Any more questions for student athletes? Right here, front right.
Deering, you're kind of the young guy up here right now. You got some older guys on this team. What have you learned from some of these older guys throughout this season? Just kind of the wisdom, whether it's basketball or life.
Besides certain things in game situation, I think the biggest thing is don't take it for granted, because soon enough I'll be a senior, be in the same spot as some of these other guys, and it goes by fast. So just enjoy the moment. Don't take anything for granted.
Any more questions for student athletes? All right, thank you. Okay, please raise your hand to ask a question, and a person with a microphone will come over. Please state your name and media affiliation. If you're joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions. We will address questions in the room first and get to the Zoom if time allows. Questions for Coach McCaslin? Right here. Left middle.
Brooke Pryor with ESPN. Grant, what's the challenge in facing a team like NC State that's coming off of 5 games in 5 days? So there's obviously some exhaustion that comes with that, but they're also a team that's riding a hot streak. How do you kind of square those two things?
Yeah, well, I can tell you, in watching NC State compete, you can just tell they've found the right group of guys with the right roles. And that's kind of that's why you play a season, because it's how do you finish the year is the most important part. And everybody wants to talk about, like, maybe a stretch even for us where we've been hurt. But, man, I really have a lot of respect for not just the way they've identified roles, but the way they're competing. I mean, if you saw the loose balls and the rebounding that they were coming up with at the end of the game, I mean, their effort is just tremendous. And so this time of year, you got some teams that are playing together and finding a rhythm offensively, and then you have some teams that are, like, competing to win. And watching them play, you could tell not only have they identified what they want to do offensively and defensively, but they're just really finding the extra effort plays that really win you games. And I have so much respect for how they're competing as a team, and there's a reason why they won. And it's not just offense and finding the right guys. It's the way they're getting rebounds and the way they're competing defensively.
Question over to the left.
Coach Bailey Tucker, CBB Review. Obviously, the Big 12 is a very competitive conference, arguably the best conference within the NCAA. Is there a team that you went up against this year that kind of matches up with how NC State plays?
Yeah, great question. No, NC State, I mean, that's why the Big 12 is such a great conference in preparation. I mean, if you can handle it without getting everybody hurt, it's awesome. And that's been the issue with our league right now. As you can see, it's widespread. NC State does remind me of a couple of our teams in our league, and I do think it's a cross of a couple of them, and we've identified that. I hate saying anything other than that, but just from a team standpoint, though, I think they have that inside-out approach that I think gives you a chance to win every night. And they've got great playmaking on the inside, which is unique, and then they also have guards that can make plays. And not many teams have both. And to give them credit right now, they've identified and found a way to utilize both of them across different parts of the game, and they're extremely difficult to defend, having watched them on film.
Questions for Coach right here, front right.
Nathan Geese, Lubbock Avalanche Journal. You've had some success in this tournament before, but in kind of a different setting during the COVID era. There not a lot of fans involved there. How different is this all for you this time around?
Yeah, well, the unique part about the last time we were in the tournament, we played Purdue in Indianapolis. So actually for a COVID game, it was quite a few people there, and the energy in the building was great. Such a joy to have the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament. And when you get to this point, if you can't create your own energy as a team and find a way to be motivated by how you compete for each other, then you're going to go home early if you're looking for an external. And we've been a part of we've got one of the best home court, I think is the best home court advantage in college basketball at home. And then we've played in some of the best road environments. And both of them, I can tell you this, if you can find a way to compete for your team, it gives you the best chance to win regardless of where you play.
Right over there to the right.
Cole Banker, Red Raider Nation. Coach, how has Warren looked the past week, and what would you say his status is for tomorrow?
Yeah, if there's one question I've been asked more than anything, it's how's Warren Washington? And I think, we tried to play him a month or so ago in the UCF game, and I felt like he was great in practice. Then we got out there and he made one move in the game, and you could tell by the look on his face he wasn't quite ready. I am encouraged by the fact that he's continued to improve. We have had him involved in practices, but I just don't think to what extent he's going to be able to go until we get out there. And I do think he'll be a game time decision, and we'll just have to see how he warms up and see if he's able to play.
And Coach, you have been here before, obviously, during the COVID season, but you have been here and you've won here. What have you learned from that first time around that you can apply towards tomorrow and advancing in this tournament?
Well, I'm thankful I got to be to be a junior college coach at the age of 27 and didn't know what I was doing. And we made it to the national tournament in junior college, won a couple games, beat the #1 team in the country, lost on a tip dunk at the buzzer. And I think the one mentality you got to have going into this, and I didn't have that the first time around, was you got to find a way to win every game. That's obvious. But you got to compete and can't just be excited to be here. I mean, there's a lot of fun that goes with this, but I think the focus has to be like, you play this to win it. And told our guys, like, we're going to join the NCAA tournament to win it. And that's the mentality going into it. And so how do you approach it every day to try to get the best? And the way you do it is, I think you better improve this time of year. You better find a way to improve and keep improving. So in today's shoot around, we're going to try to get better. And every opportunity you get, you try to get better. And the first media timeout, we better figure out a way to get better. And then you play it all the way to the end. And so I'm thrilled because this group has embraced it. They love each other, which I think is the most important aspect. But you approach every opportunity with the purpose of trying to find a way to improve. And that allows you to win.
Back middle.
Noah Fleischman with the Wolfpacker. You talked about NC State's interior, playmaking, especially led by DJ Burns. How unique of a player is he, and do you have to prepare any different, for a guy like that can score but also pass out of the post?
Yeah, I mean, what a matchup problem. I mean, DJ Burns is one of those guys that I don't think there's an answer for. I think over the course of the game, you just have to learn what gives you the best opportunity that night. And there's no way to replicate what he's doing either in practice. So you just got to rely on your team defense and activity to find ways to disrupt it enough to where you hope that you can create an advantage at some point. But I'll tell you what, I mean, NC State, you can start with Burns. He's obviously such a load because he can pass and he can score. But I love what they're doing, with the whole roster. I mean, Middlebrooks has really made some big impacts on him, I think, with his activity level and his movement. And then DR has been a problem with his rebounding and ability to make threes, and he's defending multiple positions and switching. So I just think, that whole combination group of forwards is really a great, set of problems, and they all present something different.
Question in the middle right here.
Pete Christie from KCBD. Coach, I just talked to the players, and they talked about what you've instilled in them. Darian said you're more of a life coach than a basketball coach. Can you just talk about what these guys mean to you?
Yeah. And I've told several people this, and I'm going to try to be as clear as I can. College basketball is beautiful because there's such great interest on your college campuses, and we had students lined up in tents all through our campus for one of our home games. Just the opportunity to be a part of this experience really is something that you have to be grateful for. But what makes it special with all the pressure that these guys have on them to perform every day is who you get to do life with. And I can tell you, there's nobody I'd rather be a part of this journey with than our group of guys and our staff. And I just, when you love the people you're with, when you come in to practice and you come into the building, you can do hard things together when you love the people you're with. And that's what I love about this group, genuinely. Before we came over here for practice, there's 2 tables full of guys. It was after lunch. We were finished. They could leave anytime they want. None of them had their phones out. And it was like they were all laughing and hanging out. And if you can tell me, like, this is what it's about, I would point of all this, the great arenas, the venues, the games on TV, if I could just video that table and those 2 tables of our team sitting there all talking without their phones out, I would tell you this is what it's about. And their opportunity to do life together and to realize that their relationships will carry them forward through some more difficult things than what this tournament brings. And I'm so thankful that they love each other and that they love this journey. And I do think it teaches a lot about life more than just basketball.
Any more questions for Coach? Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank y'all. Brecco.